Hey, Curtis.
Hey, Oz.
What movie do you have for us this week?
This week, we got a 4-part movie marriage. We've got Total Recall meets The Hunger Games, plus American Gladiators, crossed with Family Feud. This week, we're watching The Running Man.
Yeah, I wasn't sure where you're going with the 4-parter. Like everything else, I'm like, yeah, okay, I see it. And then Family Feud.
Family Feud. It's time to play the feud.
I forget Richard Dawson was the host of Family Feud. So welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks, the podcast where we take a monthly theme and chat about movies that we get to pick for that theme. I love the premise of this show. Like we literally just we've joked before. We find the movies we want to talk about and then just like shape a theme around them.
Yeah, construct the theme to fit the movies.
Yeah. It's unlike Family Feud where it's like we ask 100 people. It's like nope.
We asked Oz and Curtis.
Yeah, we think of a movie and then we bend a theme to fit the movie.
Yes.
So. And really the challenge sometimes is coming up with the rest of the month.
Sometimes.
We grab a movie or two, and we're like, oh crap, what's going to fit the rest of that theme?
We need another movie for was it for Man Bat? So
for Man Bat.
Dracula doesn't loving it.
Or let's do that one. So if aforementioned, I am Oz.
Yep, and I am Curtis.
And we are here for week 3 of 80s Arnold month. Not Tom Arnold and not Wonder Years Kevin Arnold, but Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Not him either.
Yeah, right.
Tom Arnold.
Although a Tom Arnold month wouldn't be terrible.
You show that turd who's boss.
we could cover the Stupids and True Lies, and that's and then a couple episodes of Roseanne.
Yeah, Roseanne's, and then the Austin Powers cameo. And
there we go. And then we got it covered.
That's it. Yeah.
We are talking about The Running Man, but before we get to that, we do want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S. and Melissa L.
Thank you
once again for your patronage. I hope you guys find that the constant repeating of your name is worth the investment that you put into our show.
It demonstrates the value we have for you.
It is. You can't put a price on that. Unless you fit just conveniently into one of the tiers that we have to offer. We're talking about 1987's The Running Man.
Yes, we are, Oz.
And like I said, it is your movie this week, so I am going to cover the cast.
Yeah.
And this is unlike Commando, which had just a handful of cast members. Like, I feel to really give justice to the premise of this movie, we kind of have to list more than the usual.
Yes, I would agree with that. And
so I'm going to start with the good guys, if you're okay with that.
Start with the good guys, Oz.
Yeah, we have the Butcher of Bakersfield, Ben Richards, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I do love how, like, every movie the dude is in, he clearly is Austrian. Like, he's lived here the majority of his life. His accent has never faded. Nope. But yet, like every movie he's in, his name is as American as you can get. Ben Richards.
John Matrix.
Right.
Conan the Barbarian.
T-800. And so, we've got good
Turbo Man.
Exactly. all those tried and true American names.
Yep. Just like apple pie.
That's right. Made in America. So we've got Ben Richards, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger, and his two buddies, Yaphet Kotto's Laughlin and Marvin J. McIntyre's Weiss. Those are the three good guys, and I know you'll elaborate on how their relationship was formed. We also have the wild card of the group, Amber Mendez, who flirts between good guy, bad guy, but finds herself in the good guy camp.
Will she, won't she?
Yeah, played by Maria Conchita Alonso. So, and it was, I've always enjoyed watching Amber Mendez in this movie. So, And so those are the good guys. We do have a few more in there. Mick Fleetwood playing Mick, and Dweezil Zappa playing Stevie.
Mick Fleetwood basically playing aged version of himself.
Exactly. It's just Mick Fleetwood.
Post-apocalyptic Mick Fleetwood.
Yeah, and so these guys are the good guys, but they are the good guys because they've been deemed bad guys. Because we are in dystopian America. So the good is the bad, and the bad happens to be the good. So the bad guys of the show, of the movie, well, and it's kind of a show within a movie.
Yeah.
So the bad guys of our program are led by, which is odd because like in the credits, he's down in the credits on IMDb under Mick Fleetwood and Dweezil Zappa,
where he should be,
where he belongs. It's Damon Killian, played by Richard Dawson.
Who loves you and who do you love?
Damon Killian. I might have called him like Damien Killam or something. And so yeah, we got Richard Dawson playing the big bad of the show, the host of The Running Man, and some of his like you mentioned, American Gladiators is one of your movie marriages, and so we do have a series of gladiator-esque.
Yes, we do.
Like almost like level bosses.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
They're kind of level bosses,
and the ones we have like 80s arcade side-scrolling beat 'em up, and then there's like the big guy at the end. Yeah,
exactly. It's like this is the princesses in another castle kind of moment, or Super Mario Brothers. These are like Bowser's kids, and so, but yeah, just kind of the rogues list here is we've got football superstar Jim Brown playing Fireball. Jesse Ventura as Captain Freedom, trained opera singer Erland von Litt, Lily von Stoop as Dynamo.
Lily von Stoop. Oh, Lily.
Gus Rethwish as Buzzsaw, Professor Toro Tanaka, professional wrestler playing Subzero.
Professor.
And then good old a second time showing of this month, Sven Olthorsen playing Sven, the security guard.
Yeah, he's playing to type here.
You're right. Well, I mocked him a couple of weeks ago when we talked about Conan because I commented on how difficult it was for them to find somebody as large as Schwarzenegger, and like. Build wise, the man is massive. Like he had his shirt off in Conan.
Yeah.
And I just assumed he seemed a little stocky, but like walking next to Schwarzenegger in this movie, like he's arguably, he's taller than Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
But it's like seeing his physique in Conan and seeing his height in this one, it's like the dude's arguably, he's a big guy. There's no doubt about it. And so we have a lot of other little odds and ends, but I'm not going to get into them. But that's really your good guys and your bad guys. And so, that's it for our list of our cast of characters. What do you got for the plot? Honestly, Lynn Shay is in the movie. She plays propaganda officer. Like I'm just scrolling through here.
Lynn Shay.
Yeah. It's like there's other names like Kurt Fuller is in this movie. He played in Wayne's World and No Holds Barred.
No Holds Barred.
I love No Holds
Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah, so there's other people that have you've seen in things, but they're just like seat fillers really for this. But that's it for the cast. Let's get to the plot.
Well, as you mentioned, movie, this is one of those post-apocalyptic movies. We get a scroll at the beginning. It's all the way in the year 2017.
Now, I will admit, and I don't think we've ever talked about it. I really do enjoy a movie that just throws text up at us at the beginning of the movie.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know why. I think it's like passive like filmmaking. It's like the easy way out, kind of like voiceovers. Like why should I have to act it out if I could just do a voiceover? But I've always had a soft spot for just opening text to because it's like because I mean, even though the movie they filmed in '87, but it's taking place 30 years later, so it's like we have to somehow convince people that it's 2017. So let's just tell them it's 2017. And
I've always appreciated it as well because it gives you a little bit of insight into like that film's universe,
but without wasting our time.
Yeah, or without it's like it. And I do agree with it. It is a little cheap sometimes, but like it, I would rather take 30 seconds and read at the beginning than have some of that like stupid like like have this stuff just sort of seeded in the dialogue.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like
for sure.
Like unnecessarily.
Yeah. It's like happy birthday. It's like happy New Year's 2017, and they're like, oh, okay, there it is. But yeah, because
boy, this post apocalypse is really getting to me.
Like there was a bit on Kids in the Hall several years ago. I think I've tripped over my different. I don't think it probably wasn't Kids in the Hall. It was probably some other
some sketch show we've enjoyed.
Some sketch show, but there was one where I think actually it was Upright Citizens Brigade, where one of the guys was an employee he wasn't an employee. He would go into video stores and then tell people he was in the movies, but his role was he was always in the movies giving the titular line, and so he would rent the movie and go home and then splice himself in. Oh man, I sure am tired of all these Star Wars.
I think that was Upright Citizens Brigade.
It's
because I could see. I think Matt Walsh doing it.
Yeah, and it was Matt Walsh. And no, Matt Walsh wasn't the guy doing it. Matt Walsh was like, no, he was like the video store employee that was arguing with him. Like, no, you weren't. Okay. You weren't in this movie. Yeah, I was. It was the guy that was doing it. He was Ken Jeong's like number 2 guy, like in the LARPing events on Role Models.
Okay.
Kind of a tall, redheadish, kind of balding.
Yeah. Oh,
I can't think of his name.
It's right there at the tip of my tongue. Is it? It's not Ian something, is it?
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, it was him. It was him.
Okay.
I too was in that movie. I'm gonna have to go back and find that clip because it's hilarious. But no, back to the point that just the opening text of setting the scene without going into again, you can lay it out there in text, and you're not like, I really do appreciate not wasting my time with some like with 20 minutes of just setting building like footage that could be handled in, like you said, 30 seconds of text.
Yeah. Like just give me the dumbed down version right there, and don't waste my time with this unnecessary dialogue for the next 20 minutes. Yeah, because again, you're giving us a dumb movie. Don't. Yeah, it's just accept it's dumb and treat us like we're dumb.
Meet us where we are. Would you? I'm already watching The Running Man. Like, don't.
You don't need to ramp this up here.
Right.
This isn't highbrow concept art.
That's right. Right. No, let's just get to it.
Yeah. Let's say it's in a Fellini film or something like that.
Right.
So, again, we're post-apocalyptic. All art and music has been censored, blah, blah, blah. And they're basically using this, like, game show to help, like, subdue and control the masses, like, sort of control the populace here.
Yeah.
So we then cut to the opening sequence here. We got a helicopter flying over Bakersfield, California,
home of the hungry.
Yeah. So it's Ben Richards is flying, and there's another like 12 people in this tiny helicopter.
And they're all armed.
Yes, they're all armed, and they say that there's a food riot going on, and Richards, they need you to open fire into the crowd. What? All they want is for food. Food, for God's sake. I don't know why
like the way he delivers down there.
They're women and children. All they want is food, for God's sake.
There's women and children down there.
As he's pretending to fly a helicopter and delivering this terrible line.
Yeah.
They just want the food, for God's sake.
Oh, it's like we're flying over with a helicopter full of people. We just as easily could have flown over the helicopter full of like loaves of bread.
Yeah,
and like solve the issue. Oh no, we have ammo.
Nope, we're gonna feed them hot lead. That's what they're gonna have for dinner tonight.
Yeah, if I was closer, I'd feed you a knuckle sandwich.
And so the his teammates subdue him.
They try to,
Yeah. And
before they almost throw him off the helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, meanwhile, no one's flying the helicopter.
Yeah.
As they're all fighting him.
it ends with the old first-person rifle butt to the face.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's such a staple that it's still there, but it's not as prominent in film as it used to be.
Yeah.
It's just the straight KO via rifle butt. It's an instant knockout.
It
that
is.
one.
That's Little Mac taking down King Kong Bundy.
Oh yeah.
We then cut to 18 months later, and by the way, folks, this is all before the credits have rolled.
Oh yeah.
So we get the the text on the screen, and we get the running man, but we haven't really hit the rest of the credits yet.
Yeah, we get text on the screen. Yeah, like you said, text on the screen, and then backstory.
Yeah, and then backstory. Then 18 months later, then the credits.
We're gonna give you a text flashback prior to the flashback.
Yeah. So 18 months later, folks, we're now
Just so you know how we got here.
we're now at Wilshire Detention Zone, which I'm pretty sure was one of the levels in Sonic the Hedgehog. But
Well, and it's right next to the farm where they make all that good bread and cookies and stuff.
yeah,
The Wilshire Farms.
glazed meats.
And penitentiary.
There's several men doing manual labor. A dead laborer is wheeled away at a wheelbarrow. And then, folks, we're inside of a metallurgy plant. And just like in the opening sequence one of the opening sequences of Commando from last week, where Arnold walks in carrying a tree over his shoulder that he just felled with his sweat and musk.
Yeah.
He walks through carrying a gigantic I-beam just over his shoulder.
Right. It's like we've got the marriage of both Arnold movies we've covered so far.
Yeah.
We started Metallurgy, how Conan started with like the forging of the sword. And then it's like Arnold, you're shaping up to be a one-trick pony here in the 80s. Give me something to carry.
I won't be believable without that I-beam.
You know, he has a pretty good looking haircut for not having it cut for 18 months.
He does.
Like,
They got a good prison barber in there.
They do. He's very clean cut.
So some of the soldiers in this place are talking about Hey, did you see the Running Man last night?
Yeah, it's like Idiocracy.
Yeah. I want to say the name of the TV show within there, but again, we're a PG show here.
We're a PG show, yeah.
Ow, my something. We meet Laughlin and Weiss. Laughlin, again, they're two characters who they're part of like the resistance, the underground, trying to take down the corporate governmental state.
Right. Which is really just this TV show.
Basically, it's this TV show.
That's how you win. If you can get the show off the air, you win.
It's basically like a collaboration between this TV show and the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then a riot starts. A planned riot starts there. They start stabbing people. Richard stabs a guard, throws him over a rail. Give you a lift.
Oh, yeah. I get to that later.
Weiss is trying to hack into their systems because they all have the shock collars on. So if you get too far away, your head explodes.
And Weiss is the computer guy because he has glasses.
He has glasses, and he's thinner than the others.
Yeah, it's clearly a nerd. He doesn't have time to work out. He's too busy hacking.
He also had to take his allergy medicine.
And he uses puffer.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, before he takes off between the sensors, he gives himself a couple of puffs. Well, I shouldn't joke. My son has asthma.
I used to use a puffer too, which
did
probably isn't too far. That's probably not a huge shock to our viewers and listeners.
We
out there.
we have glasses.
Shut up, nerd.
The irony is, I'm the tech nerd here.
Yeah,
so.
that's the irony, and I'm the jock. So
You're the one in the Captain America shirt, not me.
That's me. Yep. I just got back from the old from the dojo where I was working on my MMA.
And it's your dojo.
It is. It's like it's the octagon. It's the It's the Manctagon, as I call it.
Manctagon, yeah. It's 14 sides.
Yep. So
real short corners.
A firefight ensues. A prisoner runs out to so and so. No, I'm gonna make it.
It's like it was a cool effect because you've got Weiss on the inside hammering at the keys trying to turn it off, and then you got some guy at like a card table on the other side hammering at the keys on his database, and it's like, so it's just this like red green, and then this guy that clearly is clearly a like robotic model or whatever, because he's just. I don't know. It was a cool effect because
it was effect. Yeah,
they blew his head up while he was running. Yeah, so it's
it was a cool little effect they did there.
And then everybody just kind of
poor Palmero or whatever his name was. And so Weiss finally cracks the code, and they all run out and celebrate, and then we get the opening credits.
Yeah, which they literally spared no expense for, because the opening credits were pretty cheesy.
Yes, they were. But again, it's a mid to late 80s action movie, so
exactly.
That's what you get.
The budget goes in the juice that these kids are pumping.
Exactly. Sven Thorson or whatever his name is. He doesn't come cheap.
No. The thing is he's like dressed as the big boss man the entire movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. He does look like the big boss man. Although they gave him a line of dialogue in this movie.
They did. He got one line of dialogue at the end. It was just comical because you've got this guy that is like equally the size of Schwarzenegger, and they're like, we just give him sleeves, cover him up, don't let anybody see him.
Yeah. Tear them sleeves off. You're gonna bring in this gigantic man. Let him be a gigantic man.
I know. I want to see you clear the ring and hop up and down with your billy club a few times before you tag in Akeem.
So Richards, Laughlin, and Weiss kind of find their way to a shanty town. They come across members of the underground. We meet Mick, who is again played by Mick Fleetwood, and he mentions that they took away my music. So this is probably the actual Mick Fleetwood,
right? Like this is gonna. People are going to love this in-joke.
Yeah.
His name probably originally wasn't Mick. He just couldn't remember his character's name. So they're just like, scrap it. Just call him Mick.
Just call him Mick.
He's playing himself anyway.
Yeah. So basically they try to recruit Richards to the cause, and he's like, no, man, I'm going to go find my brother. Laughlin doesn't trust Richards because he's not one of them. Richard leaves, whatever. We then cut to a red limo pulling up to a huge building with ICS at the top. And then Richard Dawson's Killian character gets out of this big red limo, waves to the crowd. Everybody's all up there for him. It's a huge celebration. He is the star, Oz.
Reminds me of somebody we've seen in the media over the past few years.
Yeah, I can't think of anybody else who was a former game show host and who's incredibly narcissistic and who's trying to embed himself within the government.
While you're talking, I'll think about it and see if I can't figure out who we're thinking of.
I have no idea where this is going.
I know that red limo too. It's just something triggers it in my mind.
Something about the red. Yeah,
something about the red.
Killian goes inside. A janitor bumps into him, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's fine." And he gets in the elevator. Make sure he's done.
Yeah,
he's a bad guy.
Yeah,
that's a bad guy move, Oz.
You know what though? I'll give Killian a little credit. It's like at least they didn't make that guy like a contestant on The Running Man.
I have a feeling the ratings would have been down for that week.
Probably.
Killian and Kurt Fuller's townie character scroll through a crime database looking for new contestants. Killian's the news is on one of the monitors in there, and they see the prison break footage with Richards, and he's like, hey, "That's a star. That's a beautiful man right there.
Look at him move."
Yep.
Thankfully, his name is the first one on the credits.
So Killian calls up the Justice Department and asks for the Entertainment Division.
Exactly.
And then asks for the president's talent agent, because that's what this movie is.
Oh yeah.
We're back to Richards. He's looking for his brother. He goes to what he thinks is his brother's apartment, and it turns out a woman, Amber, is there. So we meet Amber Mendez here.
Mm-hmm.
The brother had been taken for re-education.
Yeah. Back to school. Back to school.
They let you keep your piece of brain. They pull out through your nose. Oh, let's see. Amber's doing crunches. Richards accosts her, whatever. He ends up basically taking her hostage. Schwarzenegger kind of has a habit of doing that in these 80s movies. I'm gonna come across a woman who I can use for my plan, and I'm gonna take her hostage.
As long as my right hand can fit around the back of her neck, she's with me.
Yep. And then we'll have some kind of encounter at an airport.
But don't worry, we'll fall in love later.
So basically, Richards takes Amber to the airport, and they're trying to get to Hawaii to kind of get away, and Amber blows his cover, and he runs out to the one place where no one will catch him, out onto the runway.
The tarmac. It was kind of a cool net gun.
Yeah, the net gun, that was pretty cool. So they bring him in, and they got him at the Running Man game show, Oz, and what's his name? Killian. He's kind of talking to him backstage, and they get him suited up. We get this show has its own dancers, Oz, so it's kind of like it's like in Living Color, where you got your own team of dancers. Paula Abdul, I guess, did the choreography for these dancers.
Yeah, these dancers are much more fun to watch. I again fondly remember being a big fan of watching the dancers of the Running Man. Yeah, it's a good time.
The crowd rises to its feet as Damon Killian is introduced, and he works the crowd. He works the crowd really well.
Yes,
who loves you, and who do you love?
Yeah,
love that line.
And they all yell close to unison, because it's sometimes, unless you're reading lips, it's really hard to figure out what the crowd is yelling all the time. But you know that they're on board with whatever Killian's dropping.
So they put together a video montage that they fake. So they've done they've used some deep fake technology here.
Exactly. It's like, this is where obviously they filmed separates, but yeah, this was straight deep fake technology.
It all runs back to the year 2017 here, Oz.
Yeah. This is where TikTok started.
The Running Man. Killian mentions, hey, we had 3 contestants. We had 3 winners from last season. They're basking in paradise right now.
Yeah. Deep fake.
Killian then reveals to the crowd, to the viewers at home, and to Richards, who's kind of strapped to this metal kind of contraption on stage there. Well, we got your 2 buddies here with you as well, Weiss and Laughlin. And Killian had told Richards backstage, it's, hey, if you sign on with this, we'll let these guys go. And Killian, not a man of his word, Oz.
No, it doesn't appear to be, no. No. I wonder if that's going to come back later.
Oh, I doubt it. In a movie like this, no, you don't do something like that and not come back.
No, he's a one-time shyster.
Backstage, Amber is going through the video files because she sees this and that's not how it happened. Yeah, because they said that at the airport he killed people there. And she's I was there. He didn't kill anybody.
Yeah, they had video, and of course, then her friend when they're walking Richards by, and the friend is just being like, oh, almost like. She's almost turned on by how dangerous he could be, and Amber is the whole time just that's not what happened though. She realizes, because she works for ICS.
Yeah, she does. She does the music for him.
Yeah, she does the music for the Immaculate Conception School System. So we had an ICS school in my hometown, and this first thing every time I watched it, I'm like,
Immaculate Conception School.
I know ICS.
And so she puts on her detective hat. She gets curious, Oz, and so she's thumbing through the video files.
Thankfully, they clearly label all of the misconceptions that they're putting forward.
Yeah, it's very organized.
Yeah. Easy to find.
And then, Oz, it's time to start running!
No, I can't wait.
So, before they release Richards and Weiss and Laughlin, We get the line, Oz. This is an 80s Schwarzenegger movie. Schwarzenegger, Richard looks up at Killian. Killian, I'll be back.
And Killian, I actually liked Killian's reply. Just like, only in reruns.
Yep.
Like, basically telling him, you're going to die because everybody dies.
Yep.
But of course, everybody at home thinks that the winners move on and they go on vacation and their records are purged and they're now upstanding citizens of America. But no, Killian knows you're on this show. You're here to die.
So all three are put into these like metal like bobsleds and put through these like tubes, and they
go on like waterless water slides.
Yeah, and they're sent down into this arena. I will say the sequence is fun. I really enjoy the sequence of the these like metal bobsleds going through these tubes, getting sent down there. There's people placing bets. He's interviewing like people in the crowd. Somebody in the crowd wins the home version of the game. What do you what do you think the home game is like? Like, because it's a board game. How do you do the board game version of the Running Man?
I think you go get like the most dangerous kitchen utensils you have, and force your children to survive the night. Like, everybody draws a card, and like you go to a separate room in the house. And you have to like solve a puzzle in the room while like Uncle Larry's in there, with a series of spatulas with knives shoved through them, and you have to
some gimmicky theme.
Yeah, you have to avoid him while solving the puzzle to get back to the hallway. It's just Clue. That's all it is.
It's basically Clue. It's the candlestick with Clue. The conservatory.
It's just Clue.
It's Clue. It's Mr. Green. So this middle-aged woman who wins the home game, Killian asks like, "Who do you want?" So she gets to pick the stalker, the gladiator that comes out to pursue and potentially hunt and kill the contestants. I like my men big and cuddly. Subzero. Professor Subzero.
Exactly. Professor Tanaka Subzero.
Comes out. For some reason, he's wearing a giant silver codpiece over an otherwise all black outfit.
And Sub-Zero's a hockey player.
Yes, he is. Maybe that'll be my family's Halloween theme. We do we do family themes for Halloween.
As do we.
And so maybe that could be one of our family themes. We'll
be
the Stalkers from Running Man.
Yeah, I know my daughter's trying to buck the trend for next year. She wants to go rogue and go on her own. But maybe I could talk her into one more year if we could be like Running Man Stalkers. Well, I'll let her pick.
I mean, you let her be Dynamo and she'll be fine.
Yeah. She's already in chorus, so.
And so let's see. They basically they're down in the arena and they end up in this like hockey rink, so they get locked in there. And then Subzero comes out, and again he's got the hockey theme going. So he's got a big old goalie stick. He's on skates. He's shooting like puck grenades at him.
Yeah.
He traps Weiss in this like gold net that like closes in like a cage.
Yeah. It reminded me of like Harry Shearer trying to get out of the pod people.
Yeah, on stage from Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
There's the guy with a hammer banging on
it. Weiss just can't get out. He's not strong enough because he's a nerd.
So Subzero, he kind of knocks down Richards, and he's hacking at Laughlin. Richards finds kind of like a post that's attached to all this razor wire that's kind of lining the top of this hockey rink, and he's able to string it out, and he gets it around Subzero's neck, and basically uses the razor wire to cut his throat.
Yeah.
And Subzero just bleeds out in a matter of seconds right there. Much to the chagrin, there's an odd hush from the crowd. Oz.
Oh yeah, they've never seen a stalker die.
Subzero, he's dead. And of course, there's these like moving tributes, and people are weeping
in memoriams.
Yes,
like
already.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all ready to go. Who had to do the B-roll to prep that? All right, we got your in memoriam ready to go here, Subzero.
Oh, okay.
So we're back in the studio. They move on. They all survive it. Weiss, Laughlin, Richards, they get through Subzero. Back in the studio, the crowd is chanting for different stalkers, and Killian's working the crowd again. Killian is great. I think they really cast this role well. Like, yes. It's a game show, so let's cast a game show host.
But a game show host with enough like acting chops and charisma. Mm-hmm. I can't see like Steve Harvey doing this.
or Pat Sajak.
Exactly. Or, I can't even think of the guy who came after Richard Dawson there in like the 90s on Family Feud.
Oh, I forget that guy's name.
But it's like he doesn't seem to have that side. Like, there's like Richard Dawson.
He has like a gravitas to him.
He's got this almost like Bob Uecker kind of like. You want him to be a good guy, but you could see him just being a complete sleaze.
Yeah, and I guess in real life, Richard Dawson kind of
I read that too. So it's like
you gotta have it, kissing women right there on Family Feud, and he did it a lot.
That's really weird. Let's see, a guy former. Yeah, who we were thinking of earlier is coming a little bit clearer. Who we were referencing earlier, former game show host that works a crowd to his advantage and kisses and gropes women without permission,
without consent. Okay. Yeah,
Richard Dawson.
That's who it's Richard Dawson.
There it is. That's right in front of me.
He'd look
Richard
good in a red
Dawson.
baseball cap too.
He would.
So Killian goes up to kind of a twerpy man in the crowd. Oh, I can't decide. Oh, I want them both. I want Buzzsaw and Dynamo. So Killian lets him pick both of them. We get Buzzsaw and Dynamo.
Right. And they it's so weird because apparently they are a tag team. Because even the PA guy is like, your favorite tag team. And I'm like, why was this guy trying to pick separately? I don't know, Marty Jannetty or Shawn Michaels. I can't figure out which rocker I want. You send them both.
X or Smash.
I know. Or Crush.
Crush. So they both come out. Buzzsaw's bit is that he has a big chainsaw, like an indestructible titanium chainsaw, and he's on a motorcycle.
It's made from pure adamantium.
The meteor fell to Wakanda, and we mined the vibranium from the Great Mound. So we got Buzzsaw, and then we got Dynamo, who is a large opera singer.
Yeah,
who also has like I'll let you. Yeah, go ahead. What's his business?
He's just this like. You go back to like Big Trouble in Little China. He's one of the three storms, only like for Halloween. I'm gonna dress up like a disco ball with flashing Christmas lights on me, and use 80s lightning technology too. But yeah, he's just pathetic.
It kind of looks like a light bright on his chest.
He does. Yeah, it's like a light bright mixed with just like this ancient Roman soldier with the bristle brush hairpiece and he's driving. I think he's driving a Tesla. I kind of think of it Tesla like Cybertruck. I think he's driving the car version of it.
I kind of think of it like if Professor X's yellow hover chair had wheels.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of what he's driving.
Yeah, it's like he's got to be the least intimidating stalker on the show.
But all the other stalkers are, well, I don't know about Subzero, but like Buzzsaw, he was a like beefy guy. And then you got Jim Brown and Jesse Ventura. Yeah. But he looks like an opera singer who has a light bright on.
I'd mentioned last week that I had a quick little anecdote about the Buzzsaw guy. There was a kid a few years ahead of me in high school that his dad was just thick with muscle.
Yeah.
Former FBI agent, retired, but he would come in and do weight training with us for football. And the guy is just dense. Like his muscle density was so thick that he would tell stories that he showed us a scar. Like he was once shot in the line of duty, but his muscle density was so thick in his shoulders that it didn't cause much damage. They just like pulled the muscle out, or pulled the bullet out. It was like, but he wasn't built like a Schwarzenegger. He was just a genuine, a non, like, how you would look if you weren't using supplements or steroids or anything like that. He was just this very muscular guy, benching 300 pounds while he's talking through it to show us good form. But he said that he actually was one of the trainers for Buzzsaw for this movie. Huh. Yeah.
He just flexes a lat and the bullet just fires back out.
Yeah, and we all kind of looked at him or whatever, but like he brought in a photo to show, like, I was like, oh my God, you really are with Buzzsaw. Okay, that's cool.
As opposed to the pastry chef who trained Dynamo.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Dynamo was the pastry chef. They just went to Kraft Food Services and pulled the guy that laid out the sandwiches.
Here's your personal trainer, Dynamo.
No, they just cast him as Dynamo.
They just cast the Kraft Services guy. He's humming in the background. He's got a great voice and a great look. You're our Dynamo.
You are Dynamo.
So they both enter the arena. Additionally entering the arena, Oz, Killian introduces, we've got a mystery contestant. They found Amber snooping around, looking through these videos, and they caught her doing it. And so they inject her into the game, along with some lies they make up about her as well. She's flaunted the law and traditional morality all of her life.
She's had 4 boyfriends last year.
She cheated at her college exam.
Right. She once downloaded a movie.
So you get the idea that, and they don't go into much detail here, about sort of what the society looks like and kind of how it turned and who, what's in power. You get the idea that it's pretty socially conservative with the fact that they're using she had sexual relations with 2, even 3 men in 1 year.
Yeah, right. What?
Oh, let me clutch my pearls.
All right, she's not even married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the arena, Weiss notices the camera relays are positioned, so blah, 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 uplink, blah, 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 the resistance.
It's, right. Yeah, well, they got to give Weiss something to do.
The camera relay, the uplink, the resistance.
It's like, meanwhile, Weiss, you're in a movie where they had to give us, words before the movie, so, again,
tone it down, Weiss.
Schwarzenegger's like, come on, do it. We're like, well, camera links and blah, 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 blah. Run.
No, you need to steal the camera. That's basically what you got to do. There's a camera we can steal. Okay, cool. So they're all there. Amber catches up with them, and just as Amber catches up, Buzzsaw jumps in on his cycle, followed by Dynamo. So they're all there fighting. Amber and Weiss get separated from Laughlin and Richards. So you got the 2 physically stronger characters with together, and the 2 physically weaker characters together. Buzzsaw gets the drop on Laughlin and Richards. Laughlin pushes Richards out of the way, and he takes a huge slice across the torso from Buzzsaw's chainsaw.
It's 14-foot chainsaw.
Yeah. His adamantium chainsaw.
Yeah.
Let's see. Buzzsaw lassos Richards, kind of drags him all over the place. Eventually, he gets free, and he kind of wraps this rope that he had been lassoed by around a pole.
Yeah.
And so it stops. It yanks Buzzsaw's chainsaw to a stop, throwing him off. Which I thought was kind of a cool little.
Oh yeah, it was cool. He's just flipping.
So they get up and they wrestle over the saw. Richards eventually outmuscles Buzzsaw and gets the chainsaw positioned in a very, let's say, precarious position.
Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't feel good there.
No.
I mean, it wouldn't feel good anywhere, but
Correct.
It definitely...
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. After Richards made Buzzsaw and the Saw come together, Buzzsaw had a very high-pitched scream afterwards. Like
it was an up-cutting motion, not a down-cutting motion. He's kind of going through the wishbone.
Yep.
And it's exactly what would happen if you took a chainsaw through the wishbone.
Yes, it would.
So that's the end of Buzzsaw there, Oz.
He had to split.
I was just gonna say I couldn't remember where the line was.
He had to split.
And it's like after I forgot the line for Subzero before. After every one of the Stalkers dies, Schwarzenegger has a one-liner. Subzero's he went from Subzero to what was it, real zero?
Yeah, something like that. Like just zero.
Plain zero. That's what it was.
Plain zero.
Plain zero.
Yeah, it's I come back to those later.
They should use that line to advertise like low fat yogurt. Plain
Bring Schwarzenegger out.
Plain zero yogurt.
Coke Zero, more like plain zero.
Plain zero. No saturated fat. Plain zero. So stupid.
Oh man. Well, we did watch The Running Man.
I don't know why you and I didn't go into marketing, guys.
It was on the back burner, but I chose education instead.
Oh, let's see. Weiss and Amber find an uplink terminal so that Weiss could talk more technologic mumbo jumbo.
so he could play the hexagon puzzle game.
Basically.
As he's like, Amber, I just met you, but remember these 47 numbers I'm going to throw at you.
So he starts going through, he's unlocking this access code, and he makes Amber remember all of these.
All of them.
All of them. And it's this huge series. You weren't kidding with 47. It was this huge series of numbers. And she
11, 17, 7, 17, 14, 62, 9. Like,
basically, yeah.
It's like Peyton Manning calling an audible.
I think I heard an Omaha in there.
Catch a niner.
Dynamo gets the drop on them in his light bright suits and electrocutes and kills Weiss. Weiss is dead. Yeah.
It's a good thing he gave all 47 numbers to Amber.
Dynamo's chasing Amber.
Oh Lord!
Yeah, and Richard,
hey, Lighthead.
Yeah, Richard
Christmas
shows up.
tree.
Yeah. Well, Ride of the Valkyries is playing, and he's singing in his opera voice.
It's so stupid. I love this movie so much, though.
I know, it's so dumb, but it's so much fun.
Oh, man.
And so Richards goads Dynamo into driving up this, like, big, like, garbage heap.
I guess so. Just come on. Come on, do it. Kill me. Come on, Christmas tree.
Of course, he drives up and just flips backwards because... Yeah, that's not how physics work.
It's physics, yeah.
And so Dynamo's trapped. He's caught. He's down, and he's screaming, "Help me!" Cut to commercial.
I know. I really like that. He's vulnerable, and he's like, "This is a show." Cut. End scene. But no, that's not how it works.
So Richards walks up with like a huge pipe. And goes to like smash his head and just slams it down right next to him. I won't kill was it like a helpless person or whatever he says? Because he has ethics.
Yeah, exactly. Like, like what? You just have to be helpless in this moment.
Yeah.
Like I only will fight you in a true fight.
Yeah, exactly. The honor. The honor of a true fight.
It's the whole, like, you wouldn't hit a man with glasses, would you? Like, take your glasses off and I'll show you.
And in the studio, we cut back to the studio, Oz, and the crowd is booing Richards.
Yeah.
Because they want to...
They didn't kill.
Yeah. That's not the resolution that normally comes out of this. And so they're booing the fact that Richards didn't kill Dynamo. An early indication, Oz, that the crowd might be starting to turn here.
Yeah, it's got a little Rocky IV moment going.
Yeah. Laughlin dies as he gives Richards some inspirational words.
It's a good thing Richards got to see his injuries before.
Yeah.
I come back to that later.
Okay, got it. Okay. So they cut to commercial, and then Killian pops on like a closed circuit monitor there. So he's just talking to Amber and Richards. He offers Richards a 3-year deal to be a new Stalker. Richards refuses. And Killian gets a call from the Attorney General, which has nothing to do with the plot, but I think it's just, I don't know, funny.
It's funny.
Yeah. So back in the studio, Fireball is introduced as Jim Brown. Fireball. He's got a jetpack.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a cool outfit, too.
Yeah. I love how he goes out, like, into the parking lot, like, surrounded by people, like, that are just, like, 3 feet from him, and then fires up the jetpack and takes off. Like, shouldn't you have, like, clear the area for the blast zone?
No, it's Fireball. Back at the studio, Killian's talking with an old lady in the audience, and asks, "Who do you think will make the next kill?" Well, it's Richards.
Ben Richards.
Ben Richards. I could pick anyone I want. Net Boy's one mean.
It was kind of funny.
Blankety blank.
Yeah, it reminds me of the lady that's on like the Frank's like Red Hot song. Like, I put that blink on everything.
Yeah, exactly. The crowd starts placing bets on Richards. Fireball shows up, and Amber and Richards get separated. Amber comes across like a locker room where the 3 winners from last season were all burned to a crisp.
Like Winston, Price, and Hedette.
Yep.
Like, dead.
They're all dead.
Was it just me, or did Fireball's flame look purple?
I can see that.
It wasn't like a pure purple, but it was just, it was weird. It's just like that. The flame kind of looks purple.
It's like the camera adds 15 pounds. It makes your flame purple too.
Exactly.
So Fireball corners Amber in this locker room, and he's about to toast her. Richards gets the drop on him, cuts his fuel line, knocks down Fireball, and then throws a flare at him. Fireball explodes. Jim Brown's gone.
Need a light? Like,
what they hothead.
Yeah. How long? Like, how did Richards, like, I don't know. Like, he came down from above, so like he knew where they were, but then he like was in the ceiling to get the drop on him. Like, I don't know.
How long had he been Spider-Man in there?
I know. Oh, well.
The crowd's completely turned at this point, as they're chanting for Richards. Captain Freedom, Jesse Ventura's character, who's been retired, gets called to wardrobe because all the other stalkers are either dead or incapacitated.
Right, yeah.
So
and he won't do it. Like, he's, well, no, it's not yet. It's not that quite yet.
I'm going to come back to that. And I'm also going to bring that up at the end. Back at the studio, they're giving a tribute to all the dead stalkers. Subzero, Buzzsaw, Fireball.
Right. They haven't mentioned Dynamo because we know he's not dead.
Yeah, because he's not dead. Backstage, they're using, again, this like deep fake technology to set up a fake fight between Captain Freedom and Richards, which I think is amazing. So they're setting that up. In the meantime, Richards and Amber, I keep thinking Angie for some reason. Amber are caught by Mick's The People's Network. As this like deep fake starts to air, and they're all watching it, and it's like this fake footage that they've created using digital technology, so it looks like Captain Freedom is fighting the other two, and he breaks Amber's neck, so she's dead. Like fake Amber is dead right away,
like immediately. They just like map Richard's face onto this stuntman. Yeah, that like Captain Freedom is legitimately fighting. So they have the footage of the fight, but then they do the mapping, and it's like not even Schwarzenegger size at all. But it's of course, but it is Schwarzenegger because they had to film it that way. Ventura is huge.
He is. He's a large man. He's taller than Schwarzenegger too. A lot taller. Yeah. He's like 6'6" or something crazy. Like that.
I saw he was something big like that.
Mm-hmm. So a fun fight sequence between these like fake characters, and it ends with Captain Freedom throwing, or no, not like throwing. He drives him shoulder first into like a wall of spikes. Yeah,
it reminded me of like the and when we watched Waxwork there at the end of last month when they threw the vampire into that wall of like wine bottles.
Yeah, those extra sharp wine bottles.
Yeah, and then pop the cork and we're just flowing out.
So, Mick is prepping his troops to fight. Richards is there with them. Richards and Amber are given a clean set of clothes, guns, and a cigar because, you got to go to battle with a fresh cigar in your mouth.
Well, you got to celebrate his victory. He's born anew.
Amber had been hiding. She did end up with the original Bakersfield footage. Where did you hide that? None of your business.
You don't want to know. Yes, you don't want to know.
So they use the codes that Amber memorized.
And still remembers. Like, yes. So despite all of the, it's like, okay.
So the underground uses these codes, and so they break into the network's feed, and they show the actual footage of what happened with Richards, as well as just how corrupt this network is, and blah blah blah, and all the your social commentary is very very thin in this movie. They reveal that.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're experiencing some technical difficulties as Richards and this tactical team bust into the studio and start taking out security guards and whatnot. Amber is running through a hallway, and she runs into Dynamo, who's half naked for some reason. Yeah,
he's still wearing his light bright, but also his tidy whities,
which is a really interesting look.
He's a comfortable guy.
Yeah, and he goes to assault her because that's what awful men in the 80s do, apparently, and awful men today as well. But it happened a lot in 80s movies. And so she has a gun with her. She gets a shot off. It hits the sprinkler, which then electrocutes him in his light bright suit.
Yay!
So, yay, Dynamo's gone. All the Stalkers are dead. Richards eventually corners. This really escalates fast, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
They
wrap this up quickly.
I feel like I'm being very quick with this part, but it's because, this whole end sequence literally takes, 5 minutes. It just goes right there at the end. And so, basically, Richards corners Killian on stage. And Killian's like, it's just television. Americans love sports and violence. We get them what they want. There's your commentary, folks. Richards then shoves Killian into the tube contraption, fires him off, but again, there's no safety net at the end like there was before, and he ends up basically shooting directly through a billboard with his own face on it. And the billboard, by the way, explodes because there must have
the billboard was lined with explosives.
A lot of explosive in that billboard.
I think they kept all of the extra explosives behind the billboard.
It was storage.
Yeah, it's just, making use of your space.
Yeah. So we get some cheesy 80s song that plays because that's how 80s action movies end. As Richards and Amber kiss on stage.
And I'm just glad she recovered for her near assault so quickly.
Yeah.
Moments ago, she was just about sexually assaulted by Dynamo, but she's over it and she's ready to party.
Yep. Then the network goes dark, and that, folks, is The Running Man. That's it. The Running Man, directed by the guy who was it Paul Michael Glass, or was he the guy who was?
He was either Starsky or Hutch.
I think it was Starsky from Starsky and Hutch in the 70s. So yeah, so that's The Running Man, folks. At this point in the show, Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we've been talking about. In this case, The Running Man. Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to give this one 7.5. Home editions of The Running Man.
That's exactly what I was gonna go with. that was gonna be my scale was like X amount of Running Man the home versions.
Sorry.
Let's go with my rating. I'm gonna go with 6 vivisected buzzsaws.
Fair enough.
Why not? Whatever. All right, next up, folks, we have Outside Insight. This is our bit where Oz and I have scoured the interwebs for unprofessional reviews about the movie in question, and we bring that review to you because it's funny and stupid. Oz, what is your Outside Insight?
I have a 5-star review rewatched by Laird on November 30th of 2016.
Laird.
Yeah, keep in mind the date, November 30th of 2016.
Uh-oh.
He says, crazy how things that seemed like absurdities in this movie now seem plausible.
Huh.
Department of Justice Entertainment Division, The President's Agent. And this was just a mere, less than 1 month after the 2016 election.
Uh-huh.
So this guy was right on top of it. Wait a minute here. This is very reminiscent. But he did give it 5 out of 5 stars. So,
What a prescient movie, The Running Man.
It was ahead of its time.
All right, my outside insight is a 10 out of 10 from the Internet Movie Database, posted from Lorna, Adar, and then a whole lot of numbers from earlier this year, so January 2022. So a relatively recent posting here, as at the time of this recording. I have loved this film from when I first saw it. I may have been too young to see it at first. Rewatching it now, and it hasn't aged one bit, well, maybe the stars. This is one of those films that should never be remade. It hasn't aged one bit. Maybe the stars.
I'm glad she specified it. I'm glad she specified it as the stars because characters don't age in a movie. You could watch this 50 years from now, and Schwarzenegger is still the same age he was when they made the movie.
And this is one of those films that should never be remade.
Never.
Never. Nope. I could never imagine The Running Man getting remade.
Not in today's society.
Nope.
No way. It's almost like they did remake it with Equilibrium.
Yeah, I could see some similarities.
Just
there,
minus the game show.
Yeah. A better acting in that movie. At least you got Christian Bale. And you get some Sean Bean in there as well.
Yeah, and Mos Def.
Yeah. You get a lot of pistol punches too, or you're punching people.
You do. That was a fun. I do like that movie. It's a good one.
It's a fun movie.
It's not moments,
I think it's also a movie that's trying to be deeper than what it's coming across as.
Yeah. It's like the Boondock Saints version of The Matrix.
That is a great comp right there. Yeah. Lastly, folks, we have the bit you've all been waiting for, our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film in question. Oz, what are your 3 goods for The Running Man? Oh,
I love a good futuristic dystopian setting, especially one that doesn't look too futuristic. One that looks like, we still filmed this in LA. It still looks like it. Movies like this, you could almost say like Terminator,
sure.
Escape from New York, stuff like that, where it's like they're not trying to Star Wars things up with a whole new universe and environment. They're like, no, we're going to film it right here. We're just going to go to the bad side of town to film it. So that's my first good. My second, Richard Dawson was just perfectly cast for this movie. And if you've seen it, it is there. I'm not going to go into too much, but Dawson was great. And 3, I really enjoyed the Stalker introductions.
Yes.
The little bits that they would have where the Stalkers would come as the hype man is talking over him. He had 13 kills and whatever, and there's just Subzero with his razor blade hockey stick that's cutting through a gong, and Buzzsaw lifting a motorcycle over his head, and so I do. Those are my 3. What about you?
One of my goods, I'm going to go with the opening credit, the pre-credit prison escape sequence. I thought that was fun. That was a lot of fun. And it really threw you in, because for the most part, this movie just goes and is very well paced. And that opening, I thought, really established that well. At least after the weird helicopter, like the first sequence. But that opening was a lot of fun, as well as the
women and children down there. You just want food, for God's sake.
They just want food, for God's sake. So that's my first good, is the opening pre-credit escape sequence. My second one, let's go with I always like when movies and shows that are about shows and movies that are about movies, when they sort of intercut with the production of the show with the live action part of the show. So it's it's going back to the production room, and then it goes back to your dancers, it goes back to the production room, and they're like, cue Killian, and then Killian comes out. I don't know what it is. I have a soft spot for that.
I do too. I mean, they do it in I know the second time I've referenced No Holds Barred, but
Yeah.
even like Scrooged, you know, where you just see like the behind the scenes, and it's fun. It just kind of it shows the different personalities of the on-screen talent.
Yeah. And just like how it all comes together, and also and it adds to that sort of phoniness as well. That this whole thing is, it's a show, you know, but in this case it's holding a society together in its own weird way.
It's like they did it really well in like the Truman Show.
Yes,
like,
yeah.
That was
just a more literal version of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then I'm gonna go with I got a couple of good ones here. I'm gonna go with the deep fake fight scene. And just sort of the general principle about that, as well as like kind of what it's evolved to at this point. But I thought that sequence, especially for a movie that was released in '87, was really kind of, I don't know, kind of ahead of its time as far as like like how, like what would technology 30 years in the future be able to do? And like I thought that was kind of a cool way to and a very like production based way to solve a problem that had come up like mid-show.
Oh yeah, because like we don't have anybody that could kill this man, so we're gonna have to fake it.
Yeah, and they did it really well, and they convinced everybody.
Yeah, even when like the PA is like, well, you didn't have to kill him.
Yeah,
because they really killed that.
They really killed the guy. Yeah,
yeah. So they're like, but hey, it's all for the art.
Yeah. So yeah, the deep fake fight scene I thought was great. So those are my three goods. Oz, what are your two bads?
The screenwriter of this movie, Steven D'Souza.
Yes.
He wrote Commando. He also wrote Die Hard.
Yep.
He wrote 48 Hours. The man is, I saw like his films have grossed over $2 billion as a writer. But this is some of the worst like one-liners that he's written for a movie. Like, especially coming off the back of Commando last week, knowing that movie is just a couple years older than this one. And Schwarzenegger's one-liners there felt, I won't say more natural and authentic, but they seemed more natural out of the mouth. They weren't trying to be funny.
It wasn't as forced.
And for here, it's like, especially like, Subzero, more like Plane Zero.
More like Plane Zero.
You know, and it just, I almost would envision like Ben Richards is looking around at his buddies to see, oh, it's funny, right? And the same with Dynamo. Hey, Lighthead. A Christmas tree. Like, really? Like, Lighthead? Like, nobody calls anybody Lighthead. And so D'Souza's one-liners writing in this movie is not as good as his other, especially knowing like 48 Hours, Die Hard. Like, he's got the chops to write that kind of interjection, and he just failed here.
Yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah, exactly. And my second is just the trope of how people can't die until someone else sees their injuries. Like, Laughlin just got nicked by a chainsaw and is bleeding out. But if I keep my hand over it, if I don't look at it, it's kind of the Wile E. Coyote style school of, if I don't look down, then I can't fall.
Yikes!
And so that's what it was. He's laying there like in with a fatal wound, and Richards goes ahead and he finishes his fight with Buzzsaw, and he fights off Dynamo, and comes running back, and Laughlin has just enough energy to deliver one last monologue and then show him his wound, and then dies.
And then show him his large colon.
Exactly. It's like just that the people that can't die unless their injury has been addressed.
Yes.
So those are my two bad. What about you?
My two bads. I'm gonna start with Captain Freedom's high and mighty speech. like he gets called back into he gets called the wardrobe or whatever, because all the other stalkers are dead or incapacitated.
Yeah.
And he comes into the production room in this this weird this weird suit that's it's like part toaster oven, and it has like knives on the front of it.
It's like he's got like chrome toasters like strapped to his body,
like he's warming some Eggos in there.
I'm not doing it. Kill him.
This is a sport of death and honor. Code of the Gladiator. It's like, what are you talking about? And he's taking it seriously, whereas everyone else is like, it's a TV show,
right? Like he totally gets called out for it.
Yeah.
Like, settle down, champ.
Yeah, and yeah, they do call him out, but it's like, code of the gladiator.
Right. I could take this man. I used to kill him with my bare hands.
Yeah.
And like that's not what people want to see
there's
anymore.
No honor here,
Right? No, not at all.
So I find it like fun. Like the scene is fun bad, but it's bad for a reason as well.
I will walk you to the gates of Valhalla.
Yeah.
Shiny and chrome. Witness me.
My other bad, this was just a teeny tiny moment in the movie that always gets me every time I watch this. It's towards the end when they're in the Resistance headquarters there. And I think it's right after they all watch the deep fake of Amber and Richards dying. And Richards is mad and just to censor myself a little bit here, he goes, darn that Killian, and then he like bangs his hand on top of like a metal file cabinet, but it's just like ting. Yeah. It's like darn that Killian. Bing.
Right. Well, and it falls in the same. It really falls in the same like personality trait of like like. You just want food for God's sakes. Like, darn it.
And then he just lightly like wraps his hand. It's supposed to be this like, he's fuming with anger and he just like lightly wraps the top of this file cabinet.
It's like to show it like even like crimple a little, like to show the force of his hit, but no, it's just like no.
Darn that Killian.
It's almost like he tried to get to the light, but it turned red before he got there. Like it's like that level of frustration.
Like, ooh, this coffee's just a little too hot. Like, darn that Killian. All right, what's your one?
What are the qualifications to be a stalker? These guys are all over the map.
Yeah.
Are you overweight? You could be a stalker.
Yep.
Do you have an opera voice? You could be a stalker. Do you have 4 chainsaws that never need started? They're just constantly running. Mm-hmm. It's like they've got these stalkers all over the place, and there's no like. At least you referenced American Gladiators in your movie Marriage, like. They all fit. Like every gladiator had like they all fit in the same pool of they all look like a gladiator. But this is like it just seems like check a box. Are you willing to kill? Yeah, okay, you can be a stalker. It's like so I'm not sure what the qualifications are to be a stalker.
That's fair. What's the interview process, right? Like how does HR work with that?
Yeah. Because how'd Dynamo get in?
Well, he was working. He was working craft services, like you mentioned.
Well, or apparently he was a key grip, and he's good. He's good with electricity. Like I don't know.
He was best boy.
Right. Yeah. So what's your huh?
My huh is so Richards gets done with Buzzsaw and Dynamo, so it's him and Amber, and then they get trapped by the Resistance. And then, they run the deep fake and all that stuff. And then, they pay no attention. Like, there's no other mention from the network. Like where's Richards at?
Yeah, they know he's not dead.
Yeah. They know he's still out there. And it's just like, all right, well, we ran the thing. And everybody else thinks he's dead. So we're good.
Yeah.
And so, like
good point.
And didn't they chip him? Like, couldn't they see where he was going?
They did something because they put those dental blocks in his mouth, and they shot him in the arm with something. It's like they were doing all kinds of like Total Recall-ish things to him prior.
Well, we just deep faked his death, so he's dead to us.
Right? We've written him off the show.
Yeah,
so
he's done. Like, okay, like you didn't exactly, dot the T's and cross the lowercase J's.
It's like they Sarah chalked him from her hand. They brought in a new Becky and forgot to address the old Becky.
Ben Richards is second Becky.
All I want is food, for God's sakes.
It's women children
in the other room.
That line's not that funny, but it is.
Come on, Dan.
Only when it's food, for God's sake. I don't know why this is so funny. Well, that, folks, is the Running Man.
Oh, my.
All right, hey, Oz, what do we got on store next week?
Oh, we got week 4 of Arnold 80s month. We're gonna take a brief hiatus from Arnold action, and we're gonna go to Arnold comedy, and we're gonna watch Twins. Where where Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito are twins.
Yep.
And one of them gets Kelly Preston and the other one doesn't. And there's shenanigans involved, and they go to look for Mama, and it's twins.
Yeah,
it's twins.
It's twins.
It's an entire movie just built on the fact of let's get an hour and a half of having Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito be twin brothers. Yep. That's pretty much what it's about.
That's it. It's an hour and a half of sight gags.
Right. It's pretty much it. So luckily we have Danny DeVito to carry the acting of the movie.
To carry that weight of that, yeah.
He glues the scenes together because Danny DeVito is a treasure, and there's not enough Danny DeVito in the world.
that is as true of a statement as there is, my friend.
So, yeah, come back next week when we cover Twins before we wrap up. God, wrap up already.
I know, and this is a 5-weeker.
I know, and we're 60% done already. But yeah, we will be back next week to talk about Twins, and then we'll wrap it up before we head into December. I have switched on our grid wife's choice for February.
Oh, yeah?
And my
Okay.
wife is, and we've already, my wife has already chimed in with her too. So
Okay.
she goes, does it have to be romance? I go, not necessarily. So she goes, okay, we'll do one romance and one that she just wants to watch.
Okay.
Again. So
Okay. I'm seeing them.
I feel it's fair to open the book a little bit. So, but yeah, so for Let's Talk About Flicks, you can catch us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon link will be down below if you'd like to hear your name mentioned each week. It's cheap. It's only $3 a month, and we'll say your name for 4 or 5 weeks in a row.
They just want food, for God's sake.
That's all we want. Give us your money so we can buy food, for God's sakes. So we can take care of our women and children. Darn it!
Darn it. Ding!
So for Let's Talk About Flicks, I'm Oz.
I'm Curtis.
And we'll be back next week with Twins. You guys will see you then.